Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're getting into something fascinating, effective Pilates programming.
Yeah, it's more than just the exercises themselves, isn't it?
Exactly. Many of you listening probably know Pilates, maybe even practice it, but we want to look behind the curtain, at the thinking that goes into making it truly effective.
Right. Our goal here is to kind of distill the core ideas. We're aiming for those aha moments, giving you that clear understanding without, drowning you in information.
Perfect for anyone who wants to get the key insights quickly. And we've looked at some great material, specifically insights from Studio Biopilates Paris and an expert there, Berger de Fémynie.
And we're also drawing on the principles from STOTT Pilates and Merrithew,
Yeah.
which are, well, pretty foundational in the field.
So the big idea is that Pilates programming isn't just a list of moves, it's responsive, almost like an art form.
Definitely an art form. And for Berger de Fémynie, her approach seems really shaped by two key pillars, let's say.
Okay, what are those?
Well, first, there's Merrithew. That brings the science. Think really precise anatomy, the structured teaching methods of STOTT Pilates. It's rigorous.
Right, the science of movement, the framework, makes sense. And the second pillar.
That's Biopilates, which is her studio, her kind of personal approach. She describes it as much more human-centered. It's all about really listening, observing the individual, and sticking closely to the fundamentals. Where Merrithew gives the rigor, Biopilates brings the patience.
So you've got this blend, structure and science from one side, and this deep listening and patience from the other. That sounds like a powerful mix.
It really is, and that combination allows programming to become, as she puts it, the art of reading a body, understanding its unique story.
Reading a body, I like that. How do you even start doing that? It sounds quite intuitive.
Well, it actually starts before any movement. It begins with listening, like really listening.
To the client.
Yeah, to their history, past pains, maybe old injuries they didn't even talk about much, what they want from their body. That whole narrative is the starting point.
You need that context first. Okay, so after listening.
Then comes observation, postural analysis. She calls it the attentive silence of observation. You're looking at how the spine aligns, how the shoulders are organized, mobility in the hips, the ankles, even the shoulder blades, the whole scapular girdle area. The body tells you a lot, even when it's still.
So it's like an invisible dialogue, as the source material mentions, between the instructor and the body.
Exactly. That dialogue informs everything. And once you do start moving, there's a foundation you absolutely rely on.
Which brings us to the STOTT Pilates principles.
Yes, the 6 fundamental principles. Caroline calls them her golden thread.
Yeah.
They have to be there. Non-negotiable, really.
Okay, let's break those down. What's the first one?
Lateral thoracic breathing. So breathing into the sides of your rib cage.
Not just belly breathing.
Right. Expanding sideways. It opens up the chest space, supports movement, helps engage the deep core. It's very specific.
Number 2.
Neutral pelvic placement. Finding that natural curve in your lower back. Not flattened, not overly arched. It's crucial for protecting the lumbar spine.
Makes total sense. And the third principle?
Thoracic alignment. Keeping the natural curve of the mid-back. Avoiding too much rounding or arching there. Good posture, efficient movement.
Okay. Next.
Scapular stabilization.
Oh.
Basically controlling your shoulder blades.
Right.
Stable shoulder blades give you a solid base for arm movements, and they connect right into your core strength. It's a key link.
Interesting connection. What's the fifth one?
Cervical alignment. Head and neck position. Keeping the neck neutral, not jutting the chin out or tucking it way down. Avoid strain.
And the last one, number 6.
Lower limb alignment. Hips, knees, ankles. Caroline points out this one's often overlooked.
Really? Why is it so important?
Because it's how force travels from the ground up through your body, especially when you're standing or bearing weight. It affects everything up the chain, right to your spine.
Wow. So these 6, they're not just warm-up ideas, they're woven into everything.
Absolutely. They're the gateways to body awareness. Without them, you're not really doing Pilates in its most effective, mindful form. Every session, every progression builds on these.
Okay, so foundation established, you've listened, you've observed, you've got these principles in mind. How does the actual programming start? Gently, I imagine.
Very gently. It always starts with mobilization. Light spinal movements, flexing, extending, rotating. Gently opening the hips, the shoulders, just waking things up and bringing some awareness to the core.
Starting soft. Then what?
Then you slowly start to awaken the trunk muscles. Stability first. You need that solid core before you ask the limbs to do a lot of work.
Build the center outward. Logical.
Exactly. After that, You introduce peripheral strengthening arms and legs,
Mm.
but always keeping that core connection. And the progression usually moves positionally. Starting lying down, then maybe seated, then onto hands and knees, eventually standing. You're adding the challenge of gravity bit by bit.
And I guess it can get more complex from there.
Oh, definitely. Once the body shows it can handle those stages, you might introduce unstable surfaces like a foam roller or balance disc.
Ah, to challenge stability more.
Right. Or add variable resistance like springs or weights. You can also play with the rhythm, the speed, the flow to challenge coordination.
But it sounds like the key is when to progress. It's not a race.
Not at all. Caroline really stresses this. Every step is considered. You only move forward based on what the body has truly integrated. Not just because you want to get to the next level. It's about respect for the body's pace.
Which must mean the support has to be really individualized, right? People learn differently, bodies respond differently.
Hugely important. Some people progress faster, others need more time. Pain, old injuries, even fear. It all plays a role.
So the instructor's job is more than just teaching exercises.
Much more. It's about creating the right conditions for progress, knowing when to correct, when to adjust an exercise, when to encourage.
And when to hold back a bit.
Exactly. Knowing when to slow down and when it's right to gently push. It all comes down to building trust. The program itself needs to be flexible, like a living organism that adapts to the student.
It sounds so different from, the kind of fast-paced, image-focused fitness world we often see.
It really is a contrast. That's a key point Caroline makes.
Yeah.
While fitness culture can be about quick results and how things look,
Yeah.
the core values here are patience, precision, moving progressively, and just deep respect for the body.
So success isn't measured in reps or how intense it looks?
Not primarily. The real transformation is measured more by the quality of that connection you build with your body. Rediscovering fluidity, finding that quiet confidence that comes from being more present in your movement.
That internal shift, rather than just the external, which leads to this idea of programming to set free. What does that mean exactly?
Well, the ultimate goal, for Caroline at least, isn't about building a performance body or hitting specific athletic benchmarks necessarily. It's more about opening up a space.
A space for freedom.
Yeah, freedom and deeper self-awareness, guiding people towards feeling more at ease, more present in their own bodies.
So it's physical freedom, but also something more.
Definitely. Every movement done correctly with that awareness is like a little victory. Every conscious breath is a step towards that inner sense of freedom, of embodiment. She talks about it being the reason she does this work, helping people find greater coherence, confidence, vitality.
So wrapping this up, this deep dive really shows that Pilates programming, when done well, it's a thoughtful, patient art.
Absolutely. It's grounded in really understanding the individual body's story and respecting those fundamental movement principles.
It's about listening before acting, observing carefully, and building step by step in a way the body can actually integrate.
Right. It goes way beyond just exercise. It fosters that deeper connection with yourself, unlocking that freedom of movement, that ease.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? If we applied that kind of mindful approach, that listening before acting, respecting fundamentals to other parts of our lives, what impact could that have on our well-being? Something to ponder. Thanks for exploring that with us today.